What's up, Dump Street? How we doing?
Welcome, Jackson Aiders, Jackson Heads.
We
I
got
don't know.
all-
Jackson Aiders is fun. Jackson Heads is where we've been, though, so we'll stick there.
No, it's Jackson fans, Jackson.
Oh, shit.
Remember the word of the gospel. Mr. Outlaw Generations. With us always.
May he rest in peace. Yeah.
No, but look, man, we've had an interesting past 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. And this is definitely the first time we're recording this intro.
And look, man, we just got through the Matt Walsh movie, and
10 out of 10.
yeah,
No, fuck.
yeah, we'll get into it in a little bit, but needless to say, it's getting the dreaded half-star 1 out of 10 review on Letterboxd, Jackson.
Yeah.
I hate
On
to
the
tell
outlaw
you.
scale.
I don't mean to
Yeah.
ruin the episode for you, but look, we'll get into it, man. First, we got to keep these lights on.
I know everyone's waiting with bated breath for Brandon's Letterboxd review to drop. We promise.
Look,
it
man,
will
it's
be out
coming.
later
I got to
tonight.
sit on these things, okay? It's important. People read these things. This is my legacy.
Yeah, there's a lot of editing. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 joke passes that have to be done before we can publish one of those things, because that's one of our main sources of income.
Yeah.
Another source of
Hella
income.
money on Letterboxd.
Hella money on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. They're
You want-
hiding that secret from you.
You want to go first? You want me to?
I can.
All right, you go first.
Thank you. One thing that famous actor Glenn Powell knows is that man's best friend is a good fleshlight. But there's so much hassle and mess with your current fleshlight. What with the cleaning and reusing. Plus, if you're committed to that fleshlight, why not just have a girlfriend? Yeah, right. Introducing Glenn's One and Dones for fellas who don't want to get attached. Get Glenn's 12-pack for $29.99. All flesh on the lights comes tattooed and scarred so you won't miss her. Warning, do not give your fleshlight a name or anything of their own that might inspire personhood and spark sentience. If your one and done begins using its lips to communicate demands or secrets, contact the FBI. Glenn Powell is merely a figurehead and did not create the one and done, and is not liable for successes or failures. He simply uses his image to market the fleshlight, though we are contractually obligated to state that Glenn Powell gets pussy and does not need the one and done. Go to glensdisposableholes.com and use code DUMP to get $15 off your first order.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Glenn's One and Done's reputable business. Always extremely professional about their delivery, very discreet.
Yeah.
And if the hole starts talking, just say shut up.
That's why you throw them away.
That's why you throw them away.
That's why you throw them away.
Mhm.
Is if anything weird happens, you can just throw them away. But
There shouldn't even be time for the holes to be speaking to you, because you should be fucking them and then throwing them in the garbage disposal where you dispose of them.
yeah, no, I personally, I trust a company maybe 300% more.
I always trust a company.
when their marketing strategy is to just pay a celebrity to try to make the celebrity synonymous with their business. And that's a
Well,
very smart thing to do.
How I tend to go about my purchases as a consumer is I look at my favorite people. Lizzo, Doja Cat.
Yep.
Pink
Pink Pantheress.
Ice Spice. I look at
Yes.
all these people and I say, what products are they using? What services are they using for delivery? Should I use Shein? Because they're all sponsored by Shein.
Timu, perhaps.
Timu, AliExpress, all of these reputable businesses.
Alibaba. We got so many good ones. And look, I don't want to leak anything, but I might have a little collaboration with Timu coming up soon. Just don't ever ask me about it after it releases.
Yeah, and if your Glenn's One and Dones do experience problems with leaking, then that's not on them.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not on Glenn Powell.
Oh, and I did learn they are very flammable. So when it comes
Extremely so.
to friction, be prepared. Come with
Go slow, and only go for about 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's about all it can take. And then it doesn't go well from there. is
very
all I'll
easily
say.
combustible.
Mm-hmm.
But
A lot of moving parts. A lot of batteries.
All right, listen, I got an ad here myself.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do, actually. I get paid too.
Wow, that's cool.
Matt Walsh can eat my nuts. He made the least funny movie ever, and I watched it from start to finish. If I ever see him at a Publix, I'm throwing hands. If I even catch a single whiff of one of his beard hairs, I'll find him and spank his pasty behind. I hate his nerd glasses and greasy hair. I hate his appropriation of lumberjack aesthetics and his glassy eyes. This isn't an ad, but if it was one, I would say, what are you waiting for? Go to www.scatwalsh.gov to admire the biggest turd in America. This is just a rumor, but I heard that Matt Walsh came out of his mom's butt when he was born. And the doctor hot glued a beard onto him so he would look less like human feces. I needed
That's
that.
so weird.
Thanks, dude.
That's so weird that wasn't an ad.
Yeah, I was hoping to get paid, but I got something better. Yeah, I got something better. I got a little catharsis. I hate you. I hate you so much, Matt Walsh.
I hate you too.
Let's just get into it, man. So this movie.
How about we just don't?
I can't. Then it was for nothing.
But I have to offer this exit strategy. I have to at least know that there's a ripcord, and at any moment, just pull it, and we'll stop talking about the movie, and maybe the episode will just be short.
20-minute episode of Dumb Street coming at you.
Yeah, please.
All right. Look,
no. Okay.
This movie. Obviously, this is not his first feature film, okay? He made.
Is it his second or third?
Yeah, his second.
Okay.
He made the accredited, by all, what is a woman?
No one's been able to answer the question.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one, and don't you dare ask me.
And he poses another tough question in this film, which I don't think we have an answer to.
Maybe a harder question.
Yeah.
Am I racist?
Is Matt Walsh racist?
Just that
doesn't sound right.
A picture book, Matt Walsh, him asking, "Am I racist?"
That's
said
basically what the poster of the movie. We forgot to take a picture with the movie poster.
We did.
Yeah, but we did leave very quickly because we just needed to be out of the room.
Yeah, no. At the moment a credit rolled, I was like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, and you know what's fucked up? There were people watching this movie other than us, so we
fucking
weren't allowed to
wild.
laugh at it during the movie.
So sad. Well, yeah. What I was gonna note is that his last movie was, I think, like a straight to DVD DailyWire.com exclusive. But this one was a major theater release. It wasn't just this one theater. It was like many theaters are showing this movie, which is fucking crazy, man. This is without a doubt the worst movie I've ever seen sitting in a theater.
I don't know if Sound of Freedom and Lady Ballers get theatrical releases. I'm pretty sure that
Did Lady Ballers get a theatrical release?
I thought it did. I could be wrong. Maybe it was only on Daily Wire Plus, but no, I could be wrong.
See, I don't think many of these things breach like the actual the mainstream movie theaters or whatever. This feels like a little bit of a different one. There are some.
I wonder if Dinesh D'Souza's get put in theaters, because he doesn't release those on Daily Wire. I don't think. I think those are independent. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
We did watch a Dinesh D'Souza trailer before the film.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That one looked, among other things, horrifically edited. But anyway, yeah.
Speaking of horrific editing, back to Matt Walsh's.
So we show up to this movie theater at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. And
prime time.
It's not like it's not like there were a ton of people there, but I expected 0 people.
Yeah,
I expected not another soul, and there were maybe 5 or 6 other total.
Yeah, it was tough.
There.
You looked up on the app if people had bought tickets to this movie. There were 3 other people that had bought tickets, so you're like, oh damn, fine. Well, we'll move a row away, so maybe we can whisper. To our chagrin, 2 more groups, 3 more groups of people walk in and post up, and one person decides to just sit 2 seats away from us. Yeah. Just a real cool move, you fucker. God.
Well, I will note for all the people out there.
Mostly empty.
Yeah,
this
mostly
place.
empty. But also, we did not pay for tickets to this movie. We just
No.
we waltzed in.
It was a 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, and so
Yeah.
they didn't have a person at the door checking if people had tickets.
Yeah. So, and I'm not gonna give Matt Walsh $15 if I don't have to.
No, of course not.
So we walked in, and it could be even we took that guy's seats even. So maybe he was just sitting nearby. So I don't know.
Still
I don't.
insane.
Yeah, crazy. But because if it was me, I would have just moved to the other end of the row.
Oh, and he loved the
Right.
movie. He was
Yeah, he was giggling throughout.
I can't say
but-
he did. He definitely was giggling throughout it at just like the parts that were like things that he agreed with or whatever just being said or
Mhm.
whatever. Like there's not a lot of real jokes in this movie, and most of the jokes that did happen, none of the intended audience actually picked up on or got.
Yeah.
Which I did notice. I was taking notes to see when people were laughing at the movie. The only thing that really got laughs was he kept doing this bit where he was like he's in disguise going to all these places, and then he just like rudely interrupts people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the joke.
Yeah, it was just that he was incompetent and disruptive.
Yeah, it's
But-
not like he thinks he's Borat, which is the whole thesis of this movie is he wants to be Borat.
Yeah,
and
Ben
do
Shapiro
Borat.
wants to produce Borat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to do Borat, but he fundamentally misunderstands the craft that goes into that type of thing and the improvisational talent that someone like Sacha Baron Cohen has.
It's near impossible to pull that kind of thing
Yeah.
off comedically, and and Matt Walsh's execution of it is a demonstration of that.
The only thing that like I think he kind of was like the only reason he did this is because he lacks the shame or respect for his fellow man to just be able to like rudely interrupt people while they're talking and like pretend you're making a point.
Well, it's
I don't know.
mostly women he interrupts
That's
throughout
true.
the movie.
Yeah, he definitely.
It's
yeah.
mostly women. If I had to put a number on it, maybe 80 to 90% of the people he interrupts throughout are women.
That's true.
And black women mostly.
Well,
but-
actually, no. There's a lot of white women. He specifically.
That's true.
Well, okay. There's probably equal of like anti-racist authors that are minority and also white, and he spends way more time on the white authors because he can like feel more confident about being rude and being stupid to them.
Yeah. Well, so just to start at the beginning,
Yeah.
the thing that I thought it was just funny on just the first moments was the Daily Wire.
The Marvel intro?
Cinematic intro sequence where it had like Lady Ballers and Ben Shapiro
Yeah.
like crossing his arms like this. And
That
it
was my
like,
first note. Was
Yeah.
producer credits Daily Wire Marvel opening.
Exactly,
It's
me too.
crazy.
Yeah, that was my same one, and it was just and the fact it was all overlaid over the cross, just so fun. My brain almost broke at that moment. Because
Oh yeah. Oh well, it's not the Christian cross. It's the Daily Wire plus sign.
Oh,
Which is
I-
it called Daily Wire Plus?
It
Because
is,
their
but
logo is a plus.
okay, that makes sense. I thought it was. Okay, yeah, I thought it had some religious connotation, which maybe doesn't make sense because he's Jewish. But when I saw that, I was like, that feels like imagery that you're
Yeah,
like
it
trying to
fades
put out
into
there.
a Star of David. That's
Yeah, I mean, do you think he has more of a Jewish audience or a Christian audience? If you had to guess,
I
don't
guess
know.
Christian, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and then the other like kind of instantaneous moment of hatred was
Yeah.
just
None of these are funny moments. These are all moments of hatred.
Yeah. He does this bit in front of two women that's like a morning talk show, and he's doing
Called
this.
Good Things Utah.
Yeah, he's doing this whole bit where he's like, "Oh, you have to extend your arms to stretch out of your whiteness or whatever," and then
You have
there's
to decenter your whiteness. He keeps hitting that.
yeah, and then there's like a record scratch, and he does the whole "This is me, Matt Walsh."
He definitely does.
He does that, and he's like, "Oh, look, that's me wearing those embarrassing tacky pants and talking to these dumb women."
Yeah, it's
how did I
everything
get
but
here?
the record scratch,
Yeah.
really. He does the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of half expecting the fucking Emperor's New Groove. He, like, breaks out of reality. That'd be great. No, but there's nothing funny or interesting in this movie, so we didn't get that. We got, didn't they cut right from there to, like, the recurring diner scene?
Exactly. He was sitting in the diner, and then the lady comes up to him, and she goes, "How do you like your coffee?" Already holding a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, like wondering if it's as if Matt Walsh has ever considered another person's feelings when he's spoken.
Yeah, there's a black
just,
woman serving him coffee at the diner, and then she asks him how he likes his coffee, and then he has to be like, oh, whoa, like he's thinking in his head, like, well, I know I'm not racist. I've never been racist as long as I can remember. And then the black woman comes up, offers him coffee, asks how he likes it, and then he's like, upon the realization that I had to say the word black to a black woman, I was sent into a moral panic about my own racism, just like all of these fragile white people in America that are being tricked by the left or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very crazy. Like it's not. There's not. You kind of have to assume what he means by a lot of stuff, just because most of the ideas he presents are just left hanging there in the air. He doesn't really. He's just like, like, what? Huh? That's the whole fucking movie. It's just head tilt.
Well, yeah, but he barely even scratches the surface of the subject matter most of the time, where it's like. And that's on purpose. It's because he doesn't want to delve too...
He can't engage with it. In good faith, he has to like pretend that on its face, none of like all of these statements and ideas have no basis in reality or like any type of rational thought. Like you can't give even a moment of credence to these people.
Yeah, and but there's this thing where it's like, okay, maybe like... to the extent Borat makes a point about society, right? It's not like it doesn't hit you over the head with it. It's primarily a comedy. It's focused on being a comedy, whereas this doesn't successfully deliver even the kind of message they were hoping to put out there, and it also isn't funny ever.
It's not a comedy.
It's never funny. It's
truly
uncomfortable.
painful to sit through. There's not really any jokes that would make you react in any way other than just like heavily cringing. Like there's not like in Borat you get those cringy moments, but they are always sandwiched between just fucking killer moments of real just real human stupidity. It's fucking great. But in this, like he's not presenting reality. He's like editing these people in, disingenuous ways to make them look crazy, and then like being rude to them as the joke, and then the scene ends.
Well, and I can't stress enough to anyone that maybe watched that movie or just doesn't have an understanding of like what DEI is, but like as he presents it in that movie, it's like this very like specific lane of like personal diversity training. Like
that's not what that is.
Like not in the context of a workplace, but it's like specifically groups of affluent people who are showing up to do it on a personal journey, which is a very narrow kind like lane of what DEI is that is not indicative of the larger like business of it. Like most of it is like training to companies. It like to their managers about their hiring practices. Like that's kind of the bulk of it. To my understanding, I do have family in the business, so I have a little bit of an understanding. But it's like
watch that sketch in the Office episode in the first season about, or like that episode where that group essentially comes to the office, and like without all the jokes, that's what that is. It's just attempting to bring awareness and like about that to workplaces, and it doesn't necessarily do anything like other than just like the company can say that they hired these people to come.
It looks really good on a budget.
Yeah,
that's kind of like, but that's where the money comes from. It's like these businesses that need to like spend a budget, and they're like, how can we do this in a way that's like we can like say we're doing the right thing essentially, which whether you think it's misguided at this point or not, I think the initial intention of making sure that racially diverse people can enter the workforce at whatever level they choose to. I think most people can agree on that except for Matt Walsh.
Well, I don't. Yeah, there's no point even talking about what DEI actually is, because in this movie it's just a buzzword to basically replace. I don't know. Again, it's vague. He doesn't stick on one side of like he doesn't stick to any single thing of being like, this is what DEI is.
No.
He's just like showing people in groups, right, affluent people paying money to go to these like therapy type groups or seminars or workshops or whatever, essentially because they themselves feel like they want to confront their own racism in a way and learn more about it. Like, or their family has told them that they should do this thing. Like, it's not being compelled by a workplace, which is where DEI, like, that's where that's secluded to. So he's completely off the mark initially.
But it's like, yeah, but he likes it that way because I think most people, if it, like, DEI is explained to them, or just like as it's used in the business sense, and they frame it in this movie like, oh, well, DEI is the kind of thing that gets you fired from your job. It's like, no, actually, that's the training that saves you from your job. Like, that's, if you want to keep your job, you go to that, and then whether you give any credence to the rehabilitation or whatever it is or not, it's like that's a better answer in your mind than just being fired for the racist shit you said. No, you would prefer that. Yes,
probably.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's like, what's their beef? I don't get it. But again, it's just they define the terms as a total straw man. It's like they're not even talking about the thing that the movie's about. They're talking about this weird abstract lane of it that's kind of about like self-help and personal growth, and he is focusing on people that are spending thousands of dollars or whatever it is for a seminar that they could just get for a $20 book. One
kind of Alcoholics Anonymous setup of like a group therapy session, and that was affluent people because they were able to pay that therapist for those session bookings or whatever her deal is. And then there was that other group of like people that you pay them to come to dinner parties at your house or whatever with a bunch of your groups of friends to talk about that shit. And those were probably the two things he spent the most time on. He didn't even spend a lot of time with White Fragility Lady. I did not write it down her name.
And I'm sure he thought that was a huge get. I can't tell you how giddy Matt Walsh must have been when he found out he was actually going to get to talk to Robin DiAngelo.
There was not really a lot of payoff there.
No, there wasn't. But
he had one bit planned about making her give the producer of the film reparations.
Yeah.
And the entirety of that was just Matt Walsh is in his soy cuck character, and he's like, this is my producer, and he's a person of color, and I think it's right to give him $30 of reparations. And then he just like keeps insisting that this woman do it, and she's just the entire time being like, this is really strange.
Yeah.
Like, you're presenting yourself as this, liberal guy or what, and you're like doing this weird thing to make a point. And I guess in that moment is probably the most like Borat, in that dissonance. But at the same time, like in Borat, the people never really call him out on it because he's acting so well. Matt Walsh can't act out of a fucking paper bag, and he can't portray this character well because there's no solid basis for it in his mind.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of weird ideas or like phrases that he's picked up. I don't know.
That's the only part of the movie where it felt like he went into his scene with an understanding of what the bit was going to be at the end.
That's true.
Because like didn't
have to do as much improv there.
Yeah, so pretty soon after the diner scene or whatever is that focus group scene where he's talking to the group of affluent people or whatever, and just the bit of that is that he's being disruptive. Is that there's a black woman that every single person there has paid to speak, and he's interrupting her at every turn.
Yeah, a lot of money as well, and she's just doing basic stuff like being like, everyone ground yourself in the space. Let's have a quiet, few moments to breathe and be in our bodies. Like, just a way to start off the group, like,
to center attention.
Stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, center attention, focus. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And Yeah, he's like, did he cough during? Oh no, he
Well, no,
walked in in the middle of it.
He waited to make an
intentionally.
entrance. Yeah, he waited to make an entrance, and then he came and he sat down. And he asked the woman next to him, "Are we meditating?" Oh, whoopsie. And it's like, okay.
And then everyone's going around introducing themselves, right? And everyone's just having normal things. She's like, everyone say your name, pronouns, and something funny or about yourself or something generic icebreakery like that. Everyone's going around. Matt Walsh is not anywhere close to the first person
No.
who does it in the circle. And the first person gets done with their thing, and he fucking shoots up like a reed and is like, I have 17 black friends. Everyone compliments me about that.
Yeah, he just goes on this long rambling thing of like, oh, I'm this guy, I do that, like, yeah, and that's his thing. He says, I've got 17 black friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at no point,
and that is the planned bit. It doesn't go further than him being like, I have a bunch of black friends and people compliment me about it. He doesn't have any more material past that at that point in the fucking room.
Yeah.
He's very low on it.
Yeah, because you can just see him sitting there uncomfortable as this scene plays out that he is deliberately orchestrated, where everyone's paying a woman to speak and she's speaking and taking up most of the attention.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there uncomfortable, not sure how to make it about himself. Because
she's doing an effective job of drawing attention away from the disruptive element in the room and like giving these people what they've paid for.
Yeah, and when he does lash out, she's authoritative and she's like, "Look, you can leave the room and come back. That's what's going to happen if you keep talking." Right? She's like, "You have to go in the other room." And he does at one point to
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying he was at one point to pretend he was crying or whatever.
Yeah, he does that a lot in this movie.
Yeah, and then
his soy cut character is like, he's got a few buzzwords, he hits those, and then he pretends to cry.
Yeah, and as he leaves to fake cry, all of the people in the room, I bet like 2 or 3 of them or whatever knew who Matt Walsh was. Yeah. Didn't feel comfortable calling him out to his face, and then they're all talking behind closed doors. Everyone gets caught up on who Matt Walsh is, and then when he comes back, they're like, "So what the fuck?" And he's like, "Oh, what?" Like completely unprepared for this moment. Like, dude, this is your movie, and you chose to keep this in.
Yeah.
Probably because he spent thousands of dollars paying this woman that he supposedly despises.
Well, it's because he knew that he had to get to the part where he dramatically goes, "Everyone, I am Matt Walsh." And then everyone says, "We know." They're
like, "We fucking know. Can you leave now?"
And I don't know if he thought, like, because that moment is unintentionally funny, that he should leave it in because it's a comedy. But that moment is just fucking unimaginably embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's so not what he was trying to do, and he did not get any of the reaction that he wanted. It was just awkward, and it was a waste of time.
After every scene, you would hear the bit that he leaves it on, where they chose to edit it. It's like, oh, this is the strong point. This is where it ends. And you'd just be like, what? And as he's leaving that room, as they're like, get the fuck out of here, dude, he just goes, oh, and by the way, my pronouns are he, him. You remember that?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Is that a joke?
His idea of, like, joking about this cucked soy lib tard or whatever is just, like, randomly interjecting, like, virtue signaling and shit in a way that no one does. Like, not even the most exaggerated, like, corny leftist or Democrat would do that shit. It's just not real, this person that he's made up. And and Borat is an exaggerated character, but there's, like, an internal logic and, like, an internal compass that Borat is working off of throughout the movie to create the narrative, or whatever. This character has nothing.
It's not thought out at all. There's no jokes thought out.
Shocking.
There's no character thought out. After that scene is the scene where he gets DEI certified, and then he just walks around on the street with his little laminate, and he's just like, hey, I'm DEI certified.
Yeah,
and
this is his
joke.
Billy on the street moment of going out in public on the street.
No joke, no reactions, nothing.
He doesn't have a microphone, but he does have a cameraman following him, or, literally in front of him, making sure to get good shots of him walking by strangers, shoving a badge in their face as they're still walking and be like, I'm DEI certified, by the way. And then they ignore him.
Yeah, no one gives a reaction. It wasn't worth putting in the movie.
I think one group did, and then he got nothing out of that.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't get anything he wants in this movie, and so but he's forced to put it out. It's honestly kind of sad. Also, this movie, like, it's clearly made for, a sizable budget, over $100,000 at the very least.
Most of it going to paying the speakers.
Has to be.
Because
Because the rest of the film looks like shit, and there's zero effort. Like, the only thing that makes this look like a theater quality film is that, like, all of the images are in 4K and they're super clean and glossy, but there's absolutely no lighting going on.
Yeah.
Like, other than just, like, way too much white light for the scene. Like, the diner looks fucking terrible, and that's the only, like, dedicated set in the movie, I think. And they've got a bunch of extras and actors in there.
There's just so many montages that look like shit where he's pretending to read. Like, where he's just sitting there with a highlighter pretending to be reading, like, some kind of, like, like, piece of anti-racist literature, and he's like,
He goes through a DEI certification Rocky montage, where he, I don't know, films himself sitting next to a tree at a public park with a book with white fragility and posing with it and like pretending to flip through it. And I guess he got what he wanted out of that scene.
Yeah.
It's just like no one's laughing.
The next scene I wanted to touch on was the one of, like, the women that you pay to come to dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe they host the dinner, and
it seemed
Matt
like
Walsh
they were being invited to that townhouse, but I don't know if anyone even owned that townhouse. They could have just been renting that for this.
Yeah, but
dinner
the thing is, Matt seemed to have a pretty liberal availability in that space, where it was like he was kind of allowed to be anywhere that he wanted, and I think if those women owned that space, he wouldn't have.
I'm sure he organized it, like, and his name was on the rent for that thing. But like,
Again,
go ahead.
They're just having dinner. They're having a discussion about race, and Matt Walsh, it's a women-only group or whatever. So the only men are the men that are coming from the kitchen to the room to serve, and Matt Walsh is one of these. And
serve he does.
Yeah, and he's got his COVID mask on or whatever, so none of them will recognize him because he thinks that they'll recognize him, and he again. The bit is there's nothing planned. The bit is he walks around the room and just tries to make as much, like, attention drawn to him as possible without getting told to leave, which is like
the only thing that you could consider, like, the joke is that he starts small and then escalates. But like,
there's no joke there. It's like you're not escalating anything other than the disruption that's been present throughout the rest of the movie.
Yes.
Where it's like the bit is just he's overfilling water.
Yeah.
He trips. He drops a plate. Saw it coming from the moment the scene started. Fucking garbage, dude. Top to bottom. And it's just like there's no bit planned. It's always just Matt is going to enter the scene. He's going to make an ass of himself. He's going to draw as much attention as possible before everyone hates him and tells him to leave.
Yeah, it's like he's a 5-year-old that just hasn't quite learned the lesson about, like, forcing people to draw attention to you or whatever. Like, it makes you look like an asshole and no one wants to be your friend. Like, that's kind of the experience. That's the only way I could describe the character that he's playing. And it's not a character because it's never consistent. There's nothing behind it. It's just Matt Walsh saying dumb liberal stuff or pronouns.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And being loud and annoying and interrupting, like, that's the thing. Like, if he was really being this timid, like, beta male guy, right? Wouldn't he want to give space to these people talking? But no, like, because he has to make content, he can't be consistent to his character because he can't think of a bit outside of just doing this lib character. It's depressing. It's fucking sad.
Yeah, it's always just exactly that paper thin. It's always the women are always talking about, like, the women are sometimes, like, you know, in a very exaggerated fashion, this detailing in what ways men are the problem, and then Matt Walsh will go and prove their point by just like making an ass of himself in the middle of when they're talking, and just like drawing attention to himself for no reason other than he thinks he deserves it without having done anything noteworthy, and it just proves their point over and over again.
I love that it does so explicitly, because the whole idea of white fragility is like, as soon as people start talking earnestly about the issue of race and systemic issues in America, white people want to deflect and change the tone of the conversation.
They completely withdraw, and that's what he does, is he can't engage with any of these topics.
Yes, he withdraws from engaging with them at all and decides to deflect and draw attention away from the topic at hand. And that's it.
At all points throughout the movie, he's just he's doing his fake character or whatever, talking about how, there's you're racist because of all the systemic injustices and blah blah blah, and pretending like he doesn't understand it. But it's like, never does he actually ask the question like, oh well, what are the systemic problems?
Yeah.
Never does he pose that question or act like he has any interest,
he just,
which is the crux of the entire fucking thing you're talking about.
No, but the point of this isn't to prove a point or like be salient in any way. It's just to, I don't revel in being wrong, I think is kind of the theme of a lot of Matt Walsh's work. Is just like, you present an incorrect thing and then like don't address any of the counter arguments to it, and then you pretend you're right and you won, and you make a movie.
Then you make money from it somehow.
He's just making money off of this, which is crazy, because like none of the intended audience, I feel, got any part of what they wanted out of this experience. It's not funny. It's not interesting. The only thing it does is confirm your biases if you're like a dumb fuck. I don't know.
I was noting that this movie doesn't even have enough reviews on Rotten Tomatoes to be fresh or rotten, and there's less than 1,000 Letterboxd reviews, which doesn't even give it a rating.
Yeah.
So I don't think many people are watching this. It might just be that we're in a weird Indiana fuck-ass place, and
for sure,
people want to watch this here or whatever. Maybe it
you wouldn't believe
everywhere.
the types of shit that gets shown in theaters.
But
anywhere.
Yeah. Anyway, the next scene is the one that we couldn't even contain our laughter in the theater. It was when he's going to the bar.
Yeah, biker bar.
Yeah, he goes to
go to biker bar.
Yeah, he goes to the biker bar, and he ends up talking to this.
Oh, my bad. I stepped on the audio splitter.
We're
should
cool.
Be good.
He ends up talking to this fucking guy who is wearing a black tank top that says Vaginatarian on it.
Yeah.
And it's got a skull with its tongue sticking out. And
Matt Walsh.
The funniest part of the movie, without him having anything to do with it, he's just like, "Oh, is that vegetarian?" And he's like, "No, it's vegetarian." Like, he just bursts out into laughter.
So Matt Walsh walks up to this guy, points out what is on the shirt that he chose to wear today. The man notices what's on his shirt, remembers what's on his shirt, and bursts out laughing.
He's like,
and it's really Vaginatarian. It's Vaginatarian.
It's just an I eat pussy shirt, and he's just cackling at it, dude.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
It's adorable. His significant other is there, and she isn't laughing. She's just like, yep, it's his Vaginatarian shirt. Like, she's used to it, for sure. Matt Walsh walks up to this guy, points out his Vaginatarian shirt. The only bit he had planned as his lib character was to be like, well, don't you think it's offensive to wear that Vaginatarian shirt because it's sexist?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Who are you mad at?
Well,
These people don't exist.
This is the section of the movie where he's going through real America.
Yeah, you got to go to grassroots America.
Yeah, where he starts talking to a bunch of white people in these biker gangs, and there's these Confederate flags hung up, and
we don't know if they're in gangs. They hang out at biker
whatever.
bars.
And he's talking to a bald man whose affiliation is not known, and they're talking to him, and he's like, they cherry pick the shit that he said about like, oh, well, what? If a guy's black, I'll drink a beer with him or whatever. And it's like, okay. and then it's like, and then he goes around interviewing a bunch of black people who he doesn't even show what he asks them to spur this, but like they're all just saying some variation of like, well, we're all the same on the inside, aren't we? Like, well, I have a bunch of neighbors, I love everyone or whatever. But it's
every single one of them is also devoutly Christian and Southern, like Baptist, probably.
And then my least favorite thing these motherfuckers do, he caps off the section with an interview with a guy that's probably like Haitian or like, I don't know, maybe not, maybe like just some immigrant, right? And he's
just some immigrant.
Yeah, I don't know, but the point is he's an immigrant, right? And he's talking to this black immigrant. And the black immigrant, essentially, this is the right wing's like favorite kind of guy, is like a black immigrant who's like, no, it's actually way better for black people here than it was in my home country, and it's actually like
America's been
here.
good to me.
Yeah, America's been good to me, and I don't see any problems here. And,
I'm living the American dream. I may not have health care.
Yeah, they eat that shit up though.
And it may be that my repair shop is going out of business. But I also believe that we all bleed the same color, red. And like that's another repeated thing throughout the movie, is like all these people that are meant to be the real people that like have the correct opinion, is that we all bleed the same color, so we should not acknowledge race
we
in
should pretend
any
it
public
doesn't
forum.
Exist. Yeah.
In any academic setting, systematic racial injustice, just ignore it and it's gone because no one's talking about it.
Ugh.
That's the thesis of what they're saying, and they don't. And like these people that say like, oh, we all bleed the same color on the inside. I don't think any of these people he talked to understood the implications or the message he's trying to get out of them, because again, he's editing around the questions that he's asking.
It's just so gross, man. The framing of all of it.
He's just like, all people are equal is the statement they're making, and he's turning that into ignore racial injustice or prejudice. And some of these people definitely are like boomer enough and like, you know, out of touch enough and completely anti-intellectual. The last guy literally said, I don't read books, I just read the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, the immigrant guy.
Yeah. No, but these are a specific type of person that don't want to engage with that type of discussion, and that's fine for them. Like but again, when it comes to like actual discussions of systemic injustice, these people are obviously not the people that you're going to like go to for the real information about what the fuck's happening, how cops treat minorities, how like people at airports are treated differently just based on their skin color, and like a myriad of other of shit. And these people that are insulated in their small southern towns are like, well, we can ignore it just fine, so why can't anyone else?
Oh my God! I promise we will wrap up with this soon, but I must say that
we've gotten so not deep. Actually, like we're not even at the end.
No, we're not. But like, so I would say I hated so much of this. The part of it I hated the most, without question, was the next part where he begins talking to an author who wrote a book called Hate Crime Hoax.
That guy. I was trying to do research on him, but like it seems like he just wrote some books in he fucking
cherry picked a black guy who was willing to say, I'm not so much worried about hate crimes as I am addiction in white neighborhoods and black on black violence. And it's like, okay, Matt, you want a pat on the back because you found a black guy that'll say your bullshit.
Was that guy black?
Yeah.
He was? Okay.
Yeah, I understand, but yeah, he was black.
Like,
he got it.
I'm sorry, but
like, no, I understand, but he, that was part of it. It was like, look, I got a black man to spew my bullshit or whatever, and he's like in character pretending like he doesn't believe it.
Well, that guy's. I just bare minimum research about him. His whole career is just like writing books that are like. I've got the stats to back up why hate crimes are blown out of proportion by the media, and police violence is blown out of proportion by the media, and how we shouldn't at all worry about any of those problems.
Well,
he doesn't because these people, they don't stop at being like, well, if you look at these numbers, like their end goal is let's ignore the problems that are real.
Well, yeah, that's the part I hated about it so much was that like when he did ask for numbers, when he was like, "Let's talk about the statistics or whatever," the author was like, "It's like 6,000 hate crimes a year," and Matt Walsh's perspective through the irony or satire of his character or whatever is like, "Oh well, I'm not impressed with that number. I don't care. 6,000 hate crimes. What's that? Who cares?" Like that. Well, that's kind of the perspective, right? If he's going. Like, because that was the bit. He's like, oh, 6,000 hate crimes. What is that, a day? Is that 6,000 hate crimes a day? And they're like, no, a year. He's like, oh. Like, and it's like, oh, well, I just owned myself. Because that's actually not very many hate crimes.
That's a lot of hate crimes.
That's quite a few hate crimes, actually,
Matt. 6,000 hate
crimes?
Yeah,
but he's like, when he hears that number, it's like, oh, well, that's not an impressive number of hate crimes. So then the bit becomes like, oh, well, isn't that kind of an insignificant amount of hate crimes? It's like, is that for you to fucking say, Matt? Who gives a fuck?
Isn't that like almost 20 a day?
It's a lot of fucking hate crimes. So it's like, I don't know why you would think anyone would be interested in your opinion on the severity or of that volume of hate crimes, but just the fucking audacity.
I like playing a lib to get owned. That's kind of like some fun role reversal shit. Matt's kinky. I like it.
And then just to prove his point, he does a full reenactment of the Jussie Smollett fake hate crime thing or whatever, just to illustrate.
They were really honing in on Jussie Smollett,
just to illustrate the point.
No hate crimes are real.
See, hate crimes don't happen. It's all fake. That and he acts that out to prove his point.
Yeah,
so fucking gross.
Yeah, he acts it out in like the way that I don't know, a younger Shane Dawson might, where he puts himself in the role of the black man, going so far as to like mouth saying the N-word, but like then bleep it out or whatever, like because he's going along with a Jussie Smollett interview with like 60 Minutes or some shit, and like Jussie Smollett, like he's supposed to be quoting one of his attackers or whatever, and is like, he called me the N-word, and he says but Matt is in the place of Jussie Smollett being called the N-word. it's kind of it's insane. Like and then you ask, okay, so what is the point you're trying to make with this? Because you're spending a lot of time on this reenactment of Jussie Smollett, and there wasn't a payoff. There wasn't a single real joke in it.
He ended it with being like, oh, maybe I won't go to Subway. That was the joke.
Oh, that was the joke. That was the button. It was bad.
Big ass groan, dude. There's nothing there.
Yeah, the audience didn't laugh. Like, not a peep. They didn't get it because they'd forgotten that it was outside of a Subway. Like, and that was set up in the thing.
Look, man, I want to finish talking about this. We already talked about the Robin DiAngelo thing.
Yeah, she talks to the author of White Fragility.
Yeah, whatever.
Bullies her into paying his producer $30.
Yeah, he does his workshop or whatever, where he does his DEI thing and
he pretends to lead a workshop, and it's like an Impractical Joker's punishment. That's kind of kind of like the reality level of it.
Yeah, but it's like 50% of the people end up leaving because they understand what it is immediately. So it's like it doesn't even work right.
Well,
and
like
then,
literally every single other thing he does in this movie, it's just. It's like if Borat was just back-to-back people being like, aren't you fucking Sacha Baron Cohen? And then him being like, no. And then running away. Yeah. Like, and then it was back-to-back that. That's every single time he tries to go undercover. The bit is revealed extremely quickly because he's not convincing about it.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It never, ever works. Throughout the movie, you're just constantly amazed by... You watch the scene and you're like, what was your plan before this? Did you have any? Did you have one? And it's from the beginning to the fucking end. And at the very end, he does that speech where he stands up in the diner and he breaks character, right?
Yeah,
and
he has a moment at the end of the movie to stand up on his soapbox and restate his thesis. And in the movie, it's like it's a callback. You're back at the diner. We're back at the moment where he's being asked to how he likes his coffee or whatever, and then conversation goes somewhere where he's like, well, you don't think the country's that racist, do you, or whatever? And then, like, the lighting changes and everything becomes blue for some reason. That's
looks
to
so
denote
bad.
that we're in a fantasy.
It looks so horrible.
And there's a lot of lens flare. And Matt Walsh stands up in the middle of this diner that is now suddenly filled with minorities.
Yeah, a bunch of black people that are just, like, nodding.
Hispanic people, black people, way less white than it was when he's seen it other times. Probably the most black people in one room throughout the entire movie is when he's like filming those extras clapping for him, giving his speech about how we need to not bring up race because it makes him uncomfortable,
it makes him
which
sad
is
and
white
uncomfortable.
fragility, which is the fucking, it's like, come on, how?
Yeah, no, and then he kind of caps it off by saying like, well, if America really was racist to its bones, then there's nothing we can do about it.
That is the end. Is he's just like defeatist? Is he's just like, we can't fix racism, so might as well ignore it.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it just shows how apathetic he is to even engage with the thought that that a race exists, that he may ever have to confront it in a meaningful way. He just totally rejects it out of hand. He would rather not think about it. And he does a lot of faux intellectualization to try to convince you that, no, there's actually a reason why I don't care to think about this shit at all. But really, it's laziness.
Another idea that he repeatedly goes back to, and you can tell how much vitriol he has for this concept, but the phrase "do the work" is probably repeated more than anything else throughout the movie. And it's clear that he hates the idea that he would need to do something extra or something internal in order to like make himself less racist.
Yeah, Matt Walsh refuses.
He hates that idea that like that fixing racism should be the burden, or like should be like his responsibility in any way, even if all that is being asked of him is to just do internal work to like understand.
Yeah, especially when Matt Walsh himself is more responsible for racism than probably like 99% of white people.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
Matt Walsh, you specifically are the problem more than anyone.
He spreads like racist propaganda as a living.
That's what this movie is. The entire thing relies on the premise that the individual has no responsibility for racism, even at the level of understanding history.
Yeah, and the ending of the movie being like, racism's such a big problem that we can't possibly face it, like, is just like such a fucking wiener attitude of like, I don't want to do any internal like self-evaluation or self-analysis about how I've treated minorities throughout my life and how my position as a white person affects how my relationships with those people. He hates having to even think that he would need to do that. And so his solution is like, well, racism's just been around for so long. How could I possibly fix it? It's like, that's not what's being asked of you. What's being asked of you is like basic decorum and like like basic empathy, maybe. I don't know.
Can we put it behind us?
We can.
Can we? And to answer the question, Matt Walsh, are you racist? Yeah, you're quite racist, Matt.
You'd say that?
Matthew, let's have a talk, because I think you might be racist.
Matt, sit down.
Matt, you're racist. Shit.
Getting called into the principal's office.
Matt, you're very racist.
Then just him crying. Then just him breaking down.
All right, let's move on, man.
I'm
Fuck
done
it.
thinking about
Done.
it.
We're done with you, Matt
I don't
Walsh.
want to even say his name
Gross. Okay, we're done. We're over it. Moving
Anyway.
on. This past week, there was a presidential election.
What?
Or not an election, a debate.
Yeah, that's
Excuse me,
crazy.
not an election. There was a debate. The first and only that we're getting between our two candidates, because old Joey B couldn't take the heat, so he
No
got out of
round
the kitchen.
twos.
Yeah, ain't no round twos.
Kamala just.
And I mean, if you want my summation of it, you saw the second half of it, but the just an outright disaster for Donald Trump. Total top to bottom failure. And it wasn't Kamala's doing, it was Trump's own doing.
Yeah.
It was every single time he opened his mouth, he vomited, dude.
Kamala's pants could have fallen off and like she could have tripped over them and like fallen into a pile of horse shit. And she still would not have embarrassed herself as much as Donald Trump did.
It was kind of incredible because
it was pretty cool.
Because sometimes they would set him up to do it, and sometimes they wouldn't even, and he would do it anyway.
Yeah,
it was fucking incredible.
My favorite is when like they just like fact checked him on something and then just like dared him to double down on it, and then he did every time.
Every single time.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
doesn't matter what I said in the past, I will agree with it even if it's wrong. That's awesome. Such a cool attitude.
Yeah, I got just a few clips, about 3 clips, and none of them are really of Kamala because when she talks, it's not very exciting.
No. She mostly was just hitting hitting balls off tees. It was not very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. My gatherings of her is that she's pretty competent when she's grandstanding about beating down Donald Trump for being a criminal, and she sounds like John McCain every single time she opens her mouth about policy. Every time she's prompted, she just talks about like, oh, I love fracking to death. Actually, Donald Trump's border policy is a fucking pussy compared to my policy. I beat the shit out of that. I'd put 1 million new border guards up there. Test me, bitch. And then they'd be like, how you feel about Israel? She's like, I feel like Israel's fucking epic, dude.
Do they have
enough
missiles? I just want to check in. Do they have enough weapons?
We do want a ceasefire, but also unlimited weapons, but also a ceasefire, but also...
You can't possibly stop selling
check.
weapons to we can't possibly stop giving weapons to Israel. We just, that's out of the question.
Yeah.
We couldn't possibly hold that over them in any way to, affect change, the ceasefire that we ostensibly want immediately.
Yeah, those things aren't exactly fun to be like, watch the video, isn't she a fucking hypocrite or whatever?
Yeah,
like that's not so much fun. But
it's what we've got. It's what we had with Obama. We're gonna have another Obama. It's fine. The country is mostly stable during that time. Maybe we can get a new Twitter or something. That would be nice. No, I don't know.
So the first clip we have here, this is on Trump on abortion. I just think that this is an amazing admission.
That they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
So
that's how he's spitting. That's crazy,
bro. So yeah, well, it's amazing, right? Because it's like, obviously, it's an unpopular position that he's, putting himself in the position of having to defend or whatever. But just there's something amazing about the way he delivers information because there's no respect for the thing that he himself just said.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like. He always talks about how like look at what they're trying to do. They're trying like on abortion. He's like, they take the baby off on the fucking operating table and then decide whether or not to kill it. This is what they're doing, man. These policies, they're evil and they're doing it on purpose or whatever. And then in the next breath, he's like, but also, she'd never be able to enact any of these policies. So it's like she's an ineffective leader. It's like, how could she even ever get this done? It's like, well, which is it, dude? Is it she's going to do the thing and it's scary, or she could never accomplish it?
Yeah, like if you're criticizing her about her and the Biden administration on getting nothing done involving student loans. That's a fair criticism to make. But you're a Republican. Like, you are doing way less for students.
Way less. Yeah, no, and yeah,
you're doing exactly the opposite. Like, I don't know, man. In this country, it always feels like we have a choice between, like, regressing and then just doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucks. It sucks to just always be there. But, like, when you're the guy doing the regression, you can't criticize the other party for doing nothing. Like, well, I don't know. I guess you can, but it's always just going to ring hollow to anyone that, like, would hear that and be like, yeah, I would like an administration that would do more work on student loans. They're not going to vote for Donald Trump because of that.
No, not at all.
There's nothing.
This clip is I honestly forget it. It's been a minute. Let's watch.
Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
Wait, so is it your policy
a Marxist
or
professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
Man, it's really tough because, like, you find one bit in there that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that detail, and I'm gonna remember to talk to Brandon about that
immediately.
And then there's 100 other things that happen.
So the first thing that was very funny was just that he goes, well, you know, she's actually adopted my policy. You know, she actually she's with me now on this, but also she's a Marxist. So
yes,
it's like, wait,
he comes so close. Like it seems like he recognizes. It seems like he recognizes, or you know, he has enough awareness to know that the best criticisms against Kamala, for the people that want to vote for Kamala, is that she's too far right. Donald Trump, though, is Donald Trump.
Yeah, so he also has to appeal to his base, which hates her because she's too far left. So out of both ends of his mouth, he has to be like, she is a Marxist. Fear her. She is Karl Marx in a woman's body.
But I should give her a Trump hat because, wow, she's far right.
But people. She loves the Don, let me tell you.
And
so
she's going to do
minute.
Nothing for you students out there. But, you know, I mean, I won't. But
wait, so by the transitive property, Donald Trump is a fucking Marxist, dude?
Whoa.
What the hell?
All these Marxists wearing MAGA hats at Trump rallies, dude. This is fucked up. No, that's crazy.
Yeah. So he's just amazing, man, because like just the contradiction is like so quick. Like he says a thing and then he immediately says something that contradicts it. And in his brain, there's no acknowledgement of like, oh, that doesn't track. My lies are not keeping up with me. He just goes forward, and it's just kind of fascinating. But in the sense, it doesn't work because you don't have Joe Biden standing next to you.
Yeah.
When you isolate these statements and you read them on their own merit, it's without a man that's confused on the other end of it. You just go like, oh, okay, this doesn't make any sense. You sound like you're on your deathbed right now, just barely getting this shit out. And onto the clip.
He's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer.
Yeah.
And what you will also notice is that
Yeah, I
people
think
start
you
can.
leaving
I don't
his
think you go
rallies
anymore.
early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't go to my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to
history
take
of
their country
politics.
back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject.
You're lost.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
it could be a
And this
turtle,
is
it
what's
could be a lizard,
happening
just
in
any
our
kind of
country,
pet they're eating.
and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
Will be Venezuela on steroids.
What?
I can't believe that came out of his mouth. Among other
What
things,
does
among
he
the fucking.
mean? What does
Well,
he mean?
just when this happened live, man, I was just. I mean, I was cackling, but it was because I was in shock because I've never heard something so racist on national television as to imply from the mouth of a former president and a man who has a coin flip to a chance to be president again, to say that immigrants are eating your fucking dog. You let your dog outside. Watch out, fucking. A Honduran man might come up and snag him and eat him over a garbage can fire.
It might be nice to go back to 2016 and pull some of those debate clips because, like, I mean, he's definitely fallen in terms of like being able to do any kind of coherent sentence structure. It's not looking good for the Don. Oh man.
That's just like that's the.
They're afraid to talk about it. They don't want to mention
that they're eating the dogs. He said it with such emphasis. He was so like confident in it. It's like they're eating the dogs.
Yeah, the buildup was crazy.
Yeah.
He knew what he was about to drop.
Yeah, he was like, you one of these? Bam. Yeah, but it's just funny, man, because there's a lot of guys on the right that are kind of trying to fill the hole that he's going to leave when he dies in a couple years, and they're trying to figure out like, how do I do this? How do I be Trump? And you can't, because you can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't fucking. Only he's capable of that kind of mistake. To try to replicate that would not be authentic.
You have to truly be able to start talking. Like, say a thing that is not correct, hear yourself say that thing, and then transition that into another thing that's not going to be correct, and do that flawlessly for fucking your entire political career. It's not replicatable. Like, the reason people like Donald Trump is because they can't nail him down on a lot of specific issues because he's constantly contradicting himself.
Yeah, he can be
so you
kind
can
of
just
whatever you want him to be.
Yeah, you can project whatever your politics are, whatever you think needs to be done to make America great. he will step in and be like, yeah, I'll do that for sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Like the reason he's like, make America great again, it's a simple phrase. They like hearing it. They like what it means. It's like, because it's
brain dead simple.
You're dumbing down the conversation of who should be the leader of the country to just be like, I promise I'm gonna make it very good.
You're gonna love what I do with the money.
And then
when you see what I do with the money, you're gonna say, wow, I never want anyone else to touch it.
And then just being able to successfully deflect for this long. I'm surprised that it has taken this long for like debate moderators and stuff to like actually call him out on stuff. Obviously this is ABC, so they've got a slant, but like there have been other presidential debates where he's just objectively lying, like official ass.
Yeah,
like,
not often have they been competent enough as moderators to actually like at the end of their time be like, but this is also the correct record. Because I know when they follow up with him on this dog thing where they're like, and by the way, we've talked to the governor and the mayor, and they all say that there were no incidents of anyone eating a dog. And then he goes like, well, we'll find out.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, he's like, we'll find out. Don't worry, we'll find out.
He calls
it's like the balls on you, man. That is crazy.
He calls up his buddy. Hey, can you go eat a dog?
We need to find 5 migrants.
Go to Springfield. Eat a dog.
Well, then at least leave part of the dog behind. If you're not willing to eat it.
Now I'm imagining him at a rally into a microphone. Go to Springfield, eat a dog,
their dogs.
Make America great again.
I need your help, people.
There's too many dogs. I can't eat them all. I need your help.
They don't turn out good in a meatloaf, I'll tell you that right now.
Does anyone have any good recipes?
I was talking to...
Lean meat, not a lot of juice.
Okay, yeah, anyway, fucking, let's cap this bitch off. We've been running long.
Yeah.
We got a Brandon's Playhouse segment here. Not the longest one. Only one of the videos is long. We got 4 here.
You know what's interesting? Trump is like a refreshing style of like Republican ghoul. Like Matt Walsh,
it's very original.
You can't feel joy while you're thinking about Matt Walsh.
No.
You can feel joy when thinking about Donald Trump.
Because he's just so funny.
Easily.
He's just so goofy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, coming at you from our homeboy Love. We've never met him before, but you're about to.
Okay.
If we date, just know that I'm a psychopath. But I'll never hurt you. I'll never lay a hand on you. But if you can't accept that I'm a psychopath because of my pain, then you'll probably break up with me.
I don't want that.
I know for a fact that's why all of my relationships have ended.
He's self.
Well, plus I didn't have good communication skills when I was younger. So if you don't have good communication skills, you can get tense when there's a disagreement. And when you get tense, you're in more pain. And when you're in more pain, you turn into a psychopath.
What?
Believe me, I do literally every single thing possible not to become a psychopath. But I am one, for sure. And I know that will never change.
That's a great detail.
And if you can't accept that, then we will not work out. So there's no point of even, getting in a relationship with me. And you also have to realize that your parents, your family members, everyone in your family is going to have to accept that I'm a psychopath too.
What?
Not just you. I mean, they may not like it, but you might have to remind them that there's nothing I can do about it.
There's no responsibility in it for him.
I'm sorry.
Look, I'm sorry, babe, but you're going to have to tell your fucking bitch family that I'm a psychopath, okay?
I know it's entirely your choice of who you want to date, but I am a psychopath, and I will not do anything to Yup. No. And
I won't
also,
hurt you.
Self-diagnosed psychopath. No way he's actually
So
a psychopath.
scary. So scary.
No, this guy is just deeply autistic. He just thinks... He's just so bad at communication that he's convinced himself that he's like some dark force. He's some shadow self.
I mean,
he's fucking...
It depends, because when I watch
this is too sad.
When I watch this, and I hear what he's saying, I go, there's like a 50% chance he's hit the women he's talking about. And if that's true, then he is the psychopath that he's saying.
Yeah, that is true. I need more. I need more of a sample size here. But I don't know. I think to me it comes down to like what's motivating him to make this video if he is a psychopath.
I think because he wants to get laid and he wants to put it out there that he's strange and off-putting. And if a woman's willing to get past that barrier, then it's like that's because if he just goes out to a bar and tries to talk to a woman and that's going on in his head, that's not gonna work.
You just have to know.
He's got
I'm
to.
a psychopath.
That's his strategy is to air it out on TikTok and then get women to find you and reach out to you. 4,000
likes on this guy.
Yeah, this is one of his more popular videos.
Yeah,
but yeah, no,
it deserves it. It's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, just the framing him in the tub.
Oh, he painted.
It's so fucking.
I don't know if
cool.
this is his bedroom, but like it looks like it, and he painted the walls black. That's some fucking edgy ass shit.
Pardon the interruption. Returning with another video.
As me second guessing where I stand, or if he wants to be in a relationship with me. I don't think he knows my secret identity. I'm sleepy American, and I know about the nap cave, where all the superheroes go to recharge.
Oh,
the
man.
hard cut that makes it better.
I watched this over and over again when I first saw it, just trying to figure out if it was that woman from Tim and Eric that does the songs for them, but it's not, man. But it felt like one of those where it was.
This reminds me of another. There's I don't know if I've shown you this one. The 3-second rule. It's my 3-second rule.
Oh, I think I have seen that. Yeah.
He can only look for 3 seconds and then look away.
That is a Tim and Eric one, right?
Is it? No, I can't be.
Is it not? Okay.
I need to look up who did that.
I don't know.
I think that's genuine.
But yeah, no, I can't wait to see what this lady comes up with next. I thought that was beautiful.
She's got a bright future. She's the next Lil Uzi.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, check out this guy. Here you go.
Okay, Deadpool. Yeah, you listen to me. I'm always the wrong guy, huh? But you know what? I've been around for 200 years. Everything I've seen, what happened here, battles, or you name it. And then I joined up with the X-Men. They helped me. Charles helped me a lot. I just wanted to be the man Charles wanted me to be, you know. And there's my wife. You know, but then, you know what? I was at a bar one day. I should have been. Then these men come in. They killed all of them. And Charles, with his power, tried to mine, but it didn't work. But he ended up doing all of them. You know, and I should have just been there. And that gives me every day.
It's
just
very accurate. Plastic.
And that's why the rage, who I am, is Logan the Wolverine.
I'm always the Wolverine.
I love that, man. Well, if you look at him right there, that looks like an old alcoholic Mark Wahlberg.
To me, I like where your head's at. To me, it looked like if they did old age effects to Matt Damon.
Oh, I see what you. Yeah, they look the same. Those two men.
It's true. Both
yeah.
from Boston.
But yeah, no, I think this is a productive way to be an alcoholic. If you're gonna be an alcoholic,
he's making movies better.
You role play as a cooler alcoholic. You just dress up and you be like.
Yeah, the arc of that character in that film, I think, is that he's climbing out of that pit of despair, and for this man to be like. Because that's a new Wolverine costume. That is for the movie.
Yeah, I don't think he's taken that out yet. Yeah,
he bought that and polished off a plastic bottle of whiskey or whatever.
That was a big ass bottle of like peppermint vodka.
That'd be hilarious if it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
But I like his take on the character. I think it's if the Wolverine in that movie was bald on the top, that would make it better. I think so.
Yeah. I like this look. They should have used it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the last video that I have today,
It's like if Professor Snape became a monk.
it's a good one, but it is a little long. But I promise it's good. I promise.
Okay.
Take a listen.
You're better off being offensive than boring. In a world where most men are literally like fucking simping and they walk on approach like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Do you probably have a boyfriend? But like, can I get your number?" I'm walking up to them and being like, "Oh, you have switchy eyes," and the girl asks, "What does that mean?" "What do you mean switchy eyes?" To which I say, "Oh, well, like, you have a dom side to you, but you're mostly submissive. Like, you mostly want to be on your knees, you know, doing certain things." Me saying that will always beat out you saying like, "I know you probably have a boyfriend, but can I have your number?" I use that tone because you're better off being gay picking up a woman than actually picking up a woman with that line. And 98% of the TikTok community thinks that that's how you pick up women. Bro, I will walk you to the end of time. Literally get more women in a week when I'm trying than you do in 14 years. And if that offends you and if that bothers you, it's because you're soft, and the reason why I can get more women than you is because I'm not soft. But you can fucking always be bad with women, and that's perfectly fine with me. I personally prefer it. I win or I win. If I get more women than you, then I win. And if you learn from me and like create some type of competition, because nobody's in competition with me at this point. Who do we got? The fucking vagabond that sings the Sad Sad Alpha like song? That guy? Moist Critical, who lost a 4, made her rich and famous, and dropped her? What? I literally have zero competition on this planet. And I like the reason I'm doing this is because I just want competition. I'm so bored. You know how boring it is? You know how boring it is that I get like 15 fucking messages from girls a day begging to be my submit. Oh, it's literally the most boring thing in the world. Hey girls, stop. Here's 2 things you gotta stop doing. 1, doing the wave thing in my fucking messages. Stop doing that, please, for the love of God. It's like the male version of hey, 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 hi, hey, hey, hey. You know how like that pisses you off when you get those messages in Tinder? That's how I view you. That level of disgust you get with men who say hey or hi as their first message in Tinder or Hinge or Bumble or whatever. That level of disgust, that's how disgusted I am when you message me the wave emoji in TikTok messages. Ask anybody that's done it before. I literally do not respond to them. So that being said, if you're a male that can't get women and I literally have the pick of the litter, maybe you should apply what I say. But also, if any girl ever messaged you on TikTok using the wave emoji, ignore them because they're not high quality.
Okay, now
It's over.
listen. He got DM'd on TikTok by a bot.
Just some man that's using a woman's like nudes to make an OnlyFans and then made AIs to reach out to
Yes,
guys.
he replied to it, and so he was added to a list of people that these scammers should target, and he has been getting a lot of robo-sex DMs with these women just giving a wave emoji to start, and I think that's what he's really venting about there.
Well, look, man, what I learned from this is we need to get out there. We need to create some competition for this guy.
Yeah.
Because apparently he's just soaking up all of the single ladies, man. Apparently.
Well, it just makes sense. Look at him. Look at him. This guy is clearly...
I can't believe he's real. I
can't believe he's calling people low value. Like, he is calling women low value. That's crazy.
There's... I mean, not to state the obvious, but there's absolutely no way that this man has had sex once. Like,
not to be mean, but this is the truth. There's no way.
If this man claims to not be a virgin, that is the biggest joke of them all.
Yeah.
Because
and I guarantee, like, if he actually were to go out and pick up a woman, the conversation would not be like, if you aren't, at least an 8 or above, then there's no point in even talking to me. Like, if that's the conversation, they're leaving immediately.
Imagine
right?
how scared you would be as a woman if a man walked up to you looking like that and he was like, "You look like you have switchy eyes. Like, you want me to fuck you, but also, like, you want to fuck me."
You're definitely a type A+ submissive. Like,
like, what's that about? Like, why are you, like, staring at me like you want to fuck me? Like, what is that?
So I totally get, just based off of the tilt of your ear, that you're into bondage, but not into piss play. And I can respect that. As a dom, I'm totally accommodating to that.
Just tell me your safe word and we're a go, babe.
Unfortunately, the angle of your pelvis tells me that you're a 7.
Yeah. Do you mind if I weigh you real quick? Because that
Hold
also
on, let
gets
me measure the
factored
bumps
into
on
my
your skull. I need to check that out. Yeah. First of all, no way. Second of all, we should get out there and provide some competition.
Yeah, no, because this guy's getting bored, and we can't have him getting bored.
15 girls a day sending me the freaking wave emoji.
That's like all the girls.
They're all bots. Like, if I'm going to give you the credit of believing that happens to you, they are all bots. Also, like, he's really hung up on this idea that, like, if you go on a dating app and message someone hey or hi, then the girl will be like, "This is evil. I will not respond to this person." It's like, maybe that's like a sign of not being too creative at first, but like, just like initiating a conversation, I don't think is that abhorrent.
Yeah, well, it's just this man, he insists on just, like, the way that you make yourself interesting to women is by imposing yourself.
Yeah, is by being offensive, is
Yeah.
what he said. You're better off being offensive than being boring.
Yeah, it's...
This guy is offensive and boring. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I look forward to hearing more life advice from Alpha Dom,
Yeah.
Domic 2,
Yeah,
whatever.
take notes, people.
Yeah, and that'll do it for Dumb Street this
Thank
week, people.
God.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, never to speak of Matt Walsh again.
5 Matt Walsh pun rhyme names.
Fat Squalsh.
Cat Walsh.
Nat Malsh.
100% that Walsh.
Crap Tulse.
Lat Walsh when he's working out his lats. I already took Scat Walsh
Ass
for my
hat.
Ooh,
Ass
good.
hat Marsh. That's him.
Okay. I like the twist at the end. That's good. Anyway, I don't know if that was 5. I wasn't counting, but I can't think of any more. Fuck yeah. Good night.
Good night.